In the dazzling world of fame, where every smile is scrutinized and every glance is analyzed, sometimes the most profound stories are told not with words but with silence. This is one of those stories, about love that spoke volumes even in its quietest moments. About a goodbye that was said, but a heart that never truly let go. Yaman and Demet Özdemir, names that lit up red carpets and screens alike, were more than just co-stars. To those who watched, they seemed like the perfect pair, their chemistry undeniable, their bond electric. But beneath the polished exterior, behind the lens of the cameras, lay a story painted with longing, conflict, and an unspoken truth that neither dared fully confront. That night remains etched in memory. The venue was alive with laughter and music, a celebration of success and friendship. But for Can and Demet, the atmosphere was heavy, an unspoken storm brewing between them. Can had made a decision, one that would change everything. He found her near the balcony, the city lights casting a soft glow over her silhouette. Her eyes caught his, and in that moment, the world around them disappeared. He took a breath, steadying himself against the tide of emotions crashing within. Then, softly but with finality, he said the words he never wanted to say aloud, "I have to say goodbye." But as his voice faded, his eyes, those windows to his soul, refused to follow. They stayed locked on her, pleading, questioning, aching. It was a paradox, his lips spoke farewell, but his gaze betrayed the depth of his heart's resistance. Demet's heart trembled. She wanted to reach out, to bridge the gulf his words had created, but the silence grew heavier between them. She saw in his eyes the story of every unsaid promise, every stolen moment, every hope that now hung precariously in the balance. The goodbye hung in the air like a fragile thread, threatening to snap. Yet, even as Can turned to leave, his eyes never left her form. A silent vow that some goodbyes are never truly endings. What followed was a whirlwind of speculation, heartache, and unanswered questions. Fans dissected every glance, every gesture, searching for clues in their public appearances. But the real story, the one only Can and Demet shared, was woven in moments like these, where words failed but eyes spoke volumes. In the days that followed, the silence between them grew louder. Rumors swirled, and the weight of their unspoken feelings threatened to crush what was left between them. Yet through it all, those eyes, Can's eyes, continued to watch from afar, unwilling to sever the connection no goodbye could erase. Because sometimes, the deepest love is the one that lingers in silence, in the spaces between words, in the gaze that never wavers. The weeks that followed that fateful night were like walking through a fog of uncertainty. Can tried to bury himself in work, countless scripts and shooting schedules offering a welcome distraction from the chaos inside his heart. Demet, too, retreated behind her own guarded walls, smiling for the cameras but hiding a storm beneath. But no matter how much distance they created, those eyes, his eyes, kept seeking her. Every event, every award ceremony, every glimpse of her presence stirred something raw and unyielding inside him. He said goodbye, yes. But his soul refused to release her. They would sometimes cross paths, brief, charged moments in crowded rooms where time seemed to slow. A subtle glance exchanged across a sea of people, a half-smile tinged with regret. In those fragments of time, the world faded, leaving only two hearts beating a rhythm they no longer dared voice aloud. Demet remembered one such moment vividly. It was an industry gala in Istanbul, a city they both loved but now felt foreign when shared with the other. She stood near the entrance, the crowd buzzing around her, when she caught sight of Can approaching. His eyes met hers, and in that instant, a silent conversation passed between them, a dialogue of what was, what could have been, and what might never be. Can's gaze was heavy with unspoken apologies, with a longing so fierce it hurt to witness. He wanted to reach out, to say everything his voice had betrayed that night. But pride and fear held him back, creating an invisible wall between them. Their story was a dance of proximity and distance, of love and loss entwined. Publicly, they were stars shining brightly, but privately, they were two souls grappling with a painful goodbye neither truly believed in. Fans watched, speculated, hoped, and mourned along with them. Social media exploded with every shared smile, every fleeting touch, every enigmatic look. yet the truth remained veiled. A bittersweet saga written not in headlines, but in the silent language of eyes that never stopped watching. As days turned into months, Ken often found himself alone in quiet hotel rooms far from the blinding lights. His thoughts drifted to Demet, her laugh, the way her eyes sparkled even in the darkest moments, the warmth of her presence that no goodbye could erase. He replayed their last conversation endlessly. The way she had tried to smile, the catch in her voice, the tears she quickly hid. And yet, despite the farewell, he felt the weight of unfinished stories, of moments that would never be theirs. There was a night, one particularly lonely night, when Ken sat by the window of his room, city lights twinkling like distant stars. He held his phone, fingers trembling as he typed a message he never sent. The words were simple but profound. "I said goodbye, but my eyes never left you." He hesitated, then deleted the message. It was a confession too raw, too vulnerable to be shared. So he closed the phone, his heart aching in silence. Meanwhile, Demet wrestled with her own ghosts. She tried to move on, to carve a path without him, but memories clung stubbornly to her. Every song, every street, every whisper of the wind seemed to echo his name. In interviews, she spoke of new projects and bright futures, but behind closed doors, the ache lingered. That night when he said goodbye haunted her dreams. She questioned whether things could have been different if only one word had been said, one hand held tighter, one look lingered longer. Their love was a delicate tapestry, woven with moments of joy, shadowed by fear, and ultimately frayed by the cruel hands of fate and circumstance. Yet, the eyes that never left, held the promise that true love does not simply end. It waits, it watches, it lives quietly beneath the surface, even when the world believes the story is over. And so, their saga continued, not in loud declarations but in the silent yearning of two hearts connected beyond goodbye. The story of Ken and Demet wasn't just about two celebrities caught in a complicated romance, it was a reflection of what so many experience behind closed doors, the struggle between heart and mind, between wanting to hold on and needing to let go. After that night, the distance between them wasn't just physical. It became a chasm filled with doubts, misunderstandings, and silence. Ken often found himself staring at old photographs, candid moments captured during happier times. The way Demet's smile lit up the frame, how their hands had once fit perfectly together. Those pictures became relics of a past that felt both distant and unbearably close. He remembered how their laughter would echo late into the night, how their conversations had no end. But now, in the stillness of his room, all he heard was the echo of goodbye. Yet, no matter how many times he told himself it was over, his eyes betrayed him. They searched crowds at premieres, scanned social media posts, lingered on memories she no longer shared. Demet, too, carried the weight of unspoken words. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that final look in Ken's eyes, the conflict, the pain, the love he tried to hide. In interviews, she projected strength and resilience, but beneath the surface, her heart whispered a different story, one of loss, regret, and the faint hope that maybe, just maybe, some goodbyes weren't forever. One evening, while scrolling through her phone, Demet stumbled upon a video clip from one of their last joint interviews. Watching Ken's face, so full of emotion, she felt a tear slip down her cheek. The question that haunted her was simple yet torturous: why say goodbye if your eyes never really leave? This question lingered like a ghost, shaping her days and coloring her dreams. Their fans, sensing the tension, rallied with messages of hope and support. They wanted to believe in a reunion, in a love story that defied the odds. Yet the reality was more complicated. Love was not always enough when life's pressures intervened. Behind closed doors, Ken wrestled with the consequences of his choice. He asked himself endlessly if saying goodbye was a mistake, or if it was the only way to protect both of them from further pain. His eyes never left her because his heart never stopped fighting, but sometimes, love meant knowing when to step back. For Demet, the struggle was just as real. She battled feelings of abandonment and the desire to move on. Yet in quiet moments, she found herself looking toward the horizon, hoping to catch one more glance from the eyes that had never truly left. Months passed. Seasons changed. Yet the story remained suspended in a delicate balance. One day, Ken received a message from a mutual friend, a simple invitation to meet and talk. Hesitant but hopeful, he agreed. The meeting was filled with tension and emotion. Words were exchanged, apologies made, and truths laid bare. They spoke not only of their past but also of their hopes for the future, whether together or apart. Though the goodbye had been spoken, their eyes told a different story, one of understanding, healing, and the enduring power of a love that never truly fades. Because sometimes, the deepest goodbyes are not the end, but the beginning of something new. Time had passed, yet the echoes of that goodbye still resonated between Ken and Demet. They had walked separate paths, carrying the weight of what was lost, but also the quiet hope of what might still be. In the final moments of their story, they met once more, not as lovers torn apart, but as two souls who had learned to respect the love they shared, even if it took a different form. Ken looked into Demet's eyes, the same eyes he had never truly left, and spoke softly, "Maybe we said goodbye. But some part of me will always be with you." Demet smiled, tears glistening as she whispered back, "And my heart will always remember the eyes that never left." They parted that day with a newfound peace, understanding that love sometimes means letting go, but never forgetting. The goodbye was real, but so was the unbreakable bond their eyes had told all along. Because in the end, love doesn't always need words. Sometimes, it lives on in a gaze, steadfast, unyielding, and eternal.